Good morning. Good morning, Gail. Good morning. I'm Jim Seavey, this morning's worship associate, and here with a bit of business before we begin our service. A warm welcome to everyone this fine spring mud time day morning, to those of you here in person and to those of you watching on YouTube. Everyone is welcome here. Whatever your heritage, your age, your income, your abilities, and however you choose to participate, be in person or on YouTube, this is a home for people who have settled religious beliefs or none, or who are eager to explore their spiritual life. A welcoming congregation, we affirm the full inclusion of people of all sexual identities and orientations. Very special welcome to any visitors with us this morning. If you'd like to get connected and learn more about our community life, please take a moment to fill out the little yellow card hanging on the end of the pew and put it in the collection plate. You can also sign the guest book as you come in the entryway, at the entryway gallery. I hope you will join us for refreshments downstairs in the fellowship hall following the service, right downstairs behind, through this door, and circuitous route down to directly under here, so we can have a chance to connect in person. Before we begin, the folks from home who would like to light a candle or a chalice along with us here, go ahead and get that ready now, and we can do it all together. There are a few announcements this morning. I'm going to read one in full because it's kind of new and different. Next Sunday, March 29th, following the church service, you are invited to join the Reverend Janet on a brief tour of some of the hidden corners of our historic building, followed by an opportunity to discuss your interest in becoming a member of the church. We are offering this walkabout as a way of encouraging friends of the church to deepen their involvement. This is a low-key way to understand what membership entails while meandering from the choir loft to the bell pull. Please know that regardless of your membership status, we are thrilled to have you in our midst on Sundays. Yes, okay. Now, there are many announcements that are in the weekly newsletter, and I'm just going to headline them because they're all repeats of things we normally do, and they're readily available. If you do not get the weekly newsletter, it's an email. It's Gloucester, info@gloucesteruu.org, I think. But you can always check that. At any rate, so it's Lectio Divina, which is with Janet on 2 more sessions, March 25th and April 1st. That's Sacred Readings, which is poetry. There is we note the passing of Bob Wech, who was our choir director for 5 years. Friday is Bring Your Own Lunch, noon to 1. It's last Sunday to order Easter plants. The entryway gallery is Calligraphy by Donna Dunn. We hope you take some time to look at that out as you came in, if you came in through the front. The Siding with Love podcasts continue, and Janet and Carol have been working on episode 4, which is upcoming. Shep Abbott is giving a talk about art space on May 10th. The book club, May 12th, will be reading River of the Gods by Candace Millard. And there's a bunch of other stuff, not too much. I'd like to introduce today's speaker, whom I've known for a while, Gail Seavey. Gail was ordained in the Rockport Church in 1990, served for 8 years as the senior minister in White Bear Lake, Minnesota, 7 years as minister at the Universalist Church in Salem, and 15 years as the senior minister in Nashville, Tennessee, and retired here, thank goodness, finally, in 2020, and I got to come home. Anyway, Gail was asked in 2016 by the Ministers Association to give the Berry Street Lecture, which is the oldest lecture series in the United States. It started in 1820. It's given by a chosen minister to her or his colleagues at General Assembly every year. It was controversial. It was about clergy sexual abuse. And it's still used in all of the education for clergy courses around the country. Anyway, and she's now a member here, yes, and is going to be giving a wonderful sermon today. Okay, I think that's everything I need to do now. And so we can have a prelude. You sit down. Yes, I have to sit down. Okay.
Let us gather this hour that the ancestors have made holy by their presence. Let us gather this hour with all our strengths and vulnerabilities, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For now, we need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who we are and who we are called to be. Let us gather this hour with an invitation to pay attention to New England's 5th season, that some of you online may call early spring, but here we call it mud time. Now, I confess not everyone loves mud time. It's not as beautiful as the fresh snow or the spring crocus yet to come. But many of us have learned that by paying attention to mud time, we learn to love all the seasons of our lives. This is the time we can pay attention to the warm sun releasing smells of skunk and air. And the time we can pay attention to the sun melting great mountains of old dirty snow while thawing frozen hearts. This is the time when we can lovingly pick through trash uncovered by the snow melt, start to heal the newly revealed ground cover burned by the road salt, and join the squawking birds pecking the new mud. Let us gather this hour that we make holy by paying attention to messy, muddy, transformative love. And now we're going to sing a song that people have sung here for centuries, Immortal Love, number 10, in your gray hymnal. As you remain standing, Jim is going to light our chalice, a symbol of our faith. And I'm going to invite you all to join in the unison affirmation, which is found in your order of service. And you know, just saying, some of us don't know this by heart and have been here a long time. So it's all right to read it, even if you're an old timer. Just saying. Okay. Please join me. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. And please be seated. As Jim lights the peace candle, and as he lights it, all I can say is it just gets worse, right? More wars, more investments in bombs, more death, and more feelings. So many feelings, right? Our feelings. Fear, powerlessness, despair, grief, anger, shame, guilt, feelings that, by the way, I was taught to hide in high piles of frozen ice and snow, a perpetual deep winter of the soul. Now, I have been studying meditation, something I never did before, with mystic Thomas Hübl, who teaches us to sit gently and patiently in meditation with whatever feelings arise, including the feelings I was taught were garbage. But lo and behold, when I sit in meditation, that fear, that grief, that shame are all revealed. There they are. They're always there. Now, Hübl draws from every religion in the world. Everybody has mystics. I'm going to be talking about one of our Universalist mystics today. But one of his quotes from Native American oral tradition says, "The medicine is already within the pain and the suffering. You just have to look deeply and quietly. Then you realize it has been there the whole time." I have found this to be true. First, the pain arises, then the medicine for the pain follows. Not always on the time schedule I hoped for. Sometimes it takes a while. I've also found it's easier to hold all the arising pain when I meditate with others. We hold one another. So today, I invite you to join me in helping all of us pay attention to the feelings that arise by meditating together. I'm going to go down in a minute, but I'm going to introduce this meditation up here. It's going to be longer than we usually do. Hübl teaches to meditate guided by a simple, what he calls a three-sync process. Through a state of presence, we consciously pay attention to our mind, our body, and our emotions, again, consciously bringing them into coherence. I will guide us in this, though there will be more silence than words. Then we will join our breaths together, adding a fourth sync, paying attention to our souls. When our song leaders, and I see a few of them, will come forward and lead us in 10:11, which is in the turquoise hymnal. So if you want to have that out and ready to go, return again to the home of your soul. So, oh yeah, and it's a round. So we'll sing it. They'll lead us and sing it through once, and then they'll split us into two-part round. Okay. Anything else we need, Jim? Okay. I'm going to come down. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. Just in case. I think I know this, but I want to have it with me. So it might not take you as long to become a little quieter and centered in your body as it's taking me, but I invite you all to first come to pay attention to your body. Now, Some of you find paying attention to your breath as we breathe in and out. Good way to focus that attention. You might want to pay attention to your feet on the floor, your seat, bench. How close or far does it feel from the ground? Do you feel the ground beneath you? Do you feel floating above it? Doesn't matter. It's all good. Just pay attention to how it feels. And we'll spend a moment just paying attention, scanning your whole body, the muscles. Where are the tensions? Where is the flow and ease? Where are the aches? Where does it feel good? Let us just sit with our bodies. However our bodies feel, it is good. May we be with it now. As we move our attention to our emotions, we scan our emotions. Do we feel butterflies in our stomach? I feel a little jumpy today. You feel bored, open-hearted, closed, tears rising to the surface, or relief? Do you feel places that are frozen, or places that stir with joy? Let us sit here paying attention to what other emotions arise. They're all good. Just be with them now. And now I invite you to pay attention to your mind. Is it reliving yesterday, balancing your checkbook now, worrying about tomorrow, streaming with images, blank, bouncing around? Whatever thoughts arise, it just is, right now. Be with them. Now I'm going to ask you to pay attention to to your soul, however you conceive that.
Robert will play the entire thing with the repeats of each section through. And then Donna, Polly, and I will we'll break the congregation to two sections right down the middle. So we'll start when we'll sing the whole, let the whole thing through once. And then we'll break it out where the first repeated two stanzas will be sung by this side. And then when they go to the second two stanzas that are repeated, you folks on this side will start the first.
And two of us will read you because there are fewer on this side.
Fewer on this side, so okay. Okay, Robert, thank you. You can play the whole thing.
You want to go this on? Yeah. So I want to tell you just one of many stories about one of our Universalist mystics, George de Benneville, who probably influenced the people who formed this church. Came to America about 25 years before John Murray, and kind of was one of the people that prepared the way. So, but this is about when he was a boy. George de Benneville's family were Huguenots, French aristocrats who had to leave or they'd get killed in the Catholic France. But they were very privileged. They got to live in the court of the King of England and the Queen. And so George grew up there, and he was very privileged. And when he writes about himself in his old age, he talks about being 12 years old, and he was kind of full of himself. He had been taught that he was just about better than everybody, and he had bad, and he even uses the words. He was better than white people. He was better than heathens, people who had better than black people. He was white. Better than heathens, better than Muslims. He said, I was kind of thought I was on like in the balcony, a plane above all people. But at 12, it was time for him to learn a trade. So they said, well, you're going to learn navigation, and they put him on a ship. He's in Britain. They got a lot of ships. And actually, the first ship they put him on is a flotilla of ships that are going all the way around the Horn of Africa and up to Algiers for a diplomatic mission with people that he had never seen anybody really different than him. So he's on this ship for quite a while. Let's go around the Horn of Africa, and he really likes taking care of his officer, and he's learning stuff, but mostly he feels important, right? And they get into Algiers late at night, and he knows the officers want to sleep late, right? So he's kind of early morning, he's kind of listening and make sure everything's okay so they can sleep late. And he hears this wailing, and this crying. It's like so loud. And he's very upset. He's only a 12-year-old boy, right? He goes out, he stomps out, and he sees these people there, people that look like nothing he's ever seen before. They are black. They have turbans. They're crying. Literally, tears coming down. They're like, ah! And he's like, stop it! Stop it, you cannot do this. This is wrong. You've got to stop it right now. And they're kind of surprised, and they stop. Oh, yeah, okay. And one of them looks at him, and he says, we're sorry if we caused a problem, but you can see, as we were bringing, as is our job, the fresh food and water onto your ship, which you need, one of our brothers fell. He tripped. And see, he's lying, and he looks, and there's this man lying on the floor with a very injured leg. And he says, so we're praying to Allah, that's God in our language, we're praying to Allah to help comfort him and heal him, but our tears wash away the wound so he won't get a fever. And you can see now we're wrapping it. The 12-year-old is like, oh yeah, there's the man. Oh, he doesn't look very well. Oh, there's all the baskets of food and the jugs of water. Oh, one is all spilled. And he's mortified, absolutely mortified. And he thinks, isn't it weird how God works? God is knocking me down to size, teaching me to be humble, me, a white boy, by blacks, me, a Christian, by Muslims, and me learning, teaching me to be a better Christian by heathen. Well, this mortification kind of ate on him for some time. He got back home, and he got a fever. And while he was having this fever, he started seeing that he was in hell. He was suffering. It was awful. It was punishment forever. And that's what he was taught as a Huguenot. It's very Calvinist, just like the Puritans. A lot of hellfire and brimstone. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? Because they believe in predestination. So he's down there suffering in hell. And the ministers, because he's at home now, the ministers will come and say, oh, no, it's okay. You're okay. You're not going to go to hell. You were chosen. We know you were chosen. Matter of fact, you wouldn't feel so guilty if you weren't chosen. You would just have poof it off, and you'll be fine. But he couldn't hear it. He was just suffering. And finally, the minister said, he's not listening to us. He really must be not chosen. He really is going to go to hell if he doesn't listen to us. That's not right. So they tell him that. Oh, yeah, you'll probably go to hell because you don't listen to us. And he's like, oh, okay. And he kind of, in his fever, accepts it. Oh, I'm going to suffer. And then he feels this amazing, overwhelming, that immortal love we just sang about. And he feels forgiven and changed. And so ends my story. Though I'll probably talk a little more about him during the sermon. Okay, so we do the offertory now? Okay. Yeah. Oh, you get to do the reading, Jim. No, that's not now.
That's what it says, honey.
Oh, okay, that's fine. We do not believe in perfection in our household, by the way. It's okay.
Yeah, this is all of all my time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is from an interview with Johanna Macy, who's an American Buddhist
Who recently died.
who recently passed away. Yes. Oh, I thought I had it on. All right. This is a reading from
Joanna, is it?
Joanna Macy, an American Buddhist who recently passed away. It's with the Yoga Journal. The journal says, based on your work, what does radical compassion mean to you today? Joanna Macy answers, compassion is not something you have like a virtue or a cultivated quality. It is rather an expression of your larger being and can be understood as integral to your belonging and interbeing in the sacred living body of earth. Compassion boils down to not being afraid of the suffering of your world or of yourself. It involves being open to what you're feeling about that suffering, whether it's grief, fear, rage, or being overwhelmed, and brave enough to experience it. It helps to know that we are all going to die. And you have this precious moment to get close to the suffering and see what it has to tell you. You can't heal something you're afraid to get near. Compassion is what impels you to act for the sake of the larger whole, or put more accurately, it is the whole acting through you.
Okay, so now we're going to collect our offering. This is the important ritual of the free church. People came to this country for religious freedom. Then we had to fight for it again in this country. And we get to... No. Okay. He wants to hand it. I thought we talked about this, but, we both forget. But I want you to say, this is the ritual of the free church that we get to do every week, where every Unitarian and Universalist church and other congregational church are self-supporting, and that is a symbol of our religious freedom. So I kind of identify with George de Benneville because I grew up in a church with very hellfire, all hellfire, you know, very Calvinist, you know, had my Calvinist Puritan ancestors and my French Calvinist ancestors. So I was always very relieved in the summer. We sang in this children's choir, so we had to hear all this stuff every Sunday. And take my word for it, none of us kids thought we were the elect or saved. We were all pretty sure that was not us. So in the summer, we spent a lot of time with my grandparents who were farmers. They lived in a small town in Vermont, town of 150 people. There's a little white church in town. Everybody was related in the town. Everybody was, I mean, I could never figure it out, but everybody told me. They're all cousins or aunts or uncles, everybody. So, and they talked about love. They didn't talk about hell. And I kind of liked it. And then after I started going to the Universalist Church in Rockport, which in those days had a red door and red rug, because red was the Universalist color. Every little New England church that was Universalist had a red door and red trim. And so I noticed in this church in Vermont, there was one window, one stained glass window. They were pretty plain. They were plain windows, but they had like stained glass around the edge. There was one that was trimmed in red. And I said, and my family always sat by that window, just like people here were fighting. I saw you back there fighting for your seat, because that's where you always sit, right? I mean, don't we all do that to some extent? So I said, they're Universalists. We're in this church. What happened? So my mom, I was studying for the ministry then, so of course I was taking all this history. So I was very excited. I was going to get to research and write a paper about this Universalist church. And it was, indeed, for more than 100 years, the Puritans, who became the Congregationalists, and the Universalists both worshiped there. They had two doors in front. Each used a different door, but they came in, it was the same little sanctuary. And the Puritans came in the morning, and the Universalists came in the afternoon. They had two Christmas trees when Christmas trees became the vogue. And they did that until the 1920s. Their last minister was a woman in the 1920s who was also a labor union organizer in the quarries there, in the granite quarries. So it was pretty interesting history. But this happened to churches all over the country. Universalists were the third most popular by numbers of worshipers in the country in the mid-1800s. And what happened was the mainline churches, what we think of as mainline churches, Protestants now, realized they had to soften their thing. A little more love, a little less hell. And many churches combined, and you see this all over Massachusetts, where, as well as Vermont, the Universalists and the Puritans combined into liberal congregational churches, of which there are many today. So I thought, okay, so now we have to find out what people here, all the old people here, think the Universalists believed. Well, I have to say, most of them said, I don't remember, I don't know, I can't remember. But Rowena, cousin Rowena, who was, my mother was kind of embarrassed of cousin Rowena. How they would have said she was maybe a couple logs short of a cord. They had all lived very hard lives. They'd grown up during the Depression on subsistence farms. They had nothing that they didn't make or grow. And everybody, all my mom's close cousins moved away eventually. That was success, to get away. Rowena stayed. She never married. She always had to do hard physical labor. She lived a hard life, but she remembered. Rowena, what did the Universalists believe? That you get your hell on earth. You get your hell on earth. And she did. But you see, it was better than getting it after you die. And this is what George de Benneville figured out. George de Benneville actually had a lot of visions. What he did, he wanted to help people after he had this first thing of I'm forgiven by a loving God. So he wanted to be a physician as well. He wanted to help heal people. And so he went to France at first, which wasn't too bright, to study, but he also preached, to the point where he almost had his head chopped off. His friend was hung, and he was saved by the bell, literally. A horse came just as they were going to put the axe down on him. So then he spent most of his time in Germany and in Holland. But he learned to be a physician. He had a community where they all preached to each other. And he was in his mid-30s. He was very settled in life when he got very, very ill. And he got weak, and this went on for weeks, and then he thought he was dying. And as he thought he was dying, he had a vision that first he went up to, he didn't call it heaven, but he went to this beautiful place that was all fruit trees. And everybody was very loving and all dressed in white, so it did sound like heaven. And, in that day, idea of heaven. And it was so full of love, but they said, no, you can't stay here yet. First, we have to take you on kind of a tour. We have a guide, the one that stood to his side and said, I'm going to be your guide, and we're going to take you through the 7 houses of hell. And there's a lot of suffering there. And you need to go and see it. But 2 things we promise you. We will comfort you after you suffer. And 2, you will be okay if while you're feeling their suffering, you are also turning deeply inward and paying attention to your inner self. This guy just taught him how to meditate, right? He goes down into these 7 houses of hell. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. It's like all the people I've served. There's so many people that got healed or didn't get healed, and it's just terrible. But he kept turning inward, and he was able to come back up into this loving place. And then they said, we wanted you to see this because now we're going to empty it. There's going to be no more people in hell. And all of the people in this beautiful orchard went down to the 7 things of hell, and they gathered the people in each one who are suffering, brought them up to the garden, the orchard, and they were all surrounded forevermore in love. And hell was empty. Well, de Benneville wakes up at the end of this. He was like, wow, this is great. He wakes up. He is in a coffin in the middle of all his friends having a wake. They had declared him dead 37 hours before. And he goes back to doing what he did before, but now he saw it as loving the hell out of the world. This world, now. We don't have to worry about hell afterlife. That got all taken care of by the heavenly hosts. So now we love the hell out of the world. He came to the United States for religious freedom with many of his friends, lived in Pennsylvania where they were welcomed. So we all know right now it feels like hell has taken over much of the earth, much of our world. And we all have been feeling that suffering. And through meditation, I have discovered that my feelings are not all responses to what's happening now. They are reactions. And let me explain. The difference between response and reaction to suffering has something to do with living in the moment or living in the past. By reactions, I mean things that happen that, we say we press our buttons. It connects to something in our unconscious feelings from the past. When events happening now touch my conscious feelings to that event, I respond rather than react. And when I respond, it feels very different. It feels grounded and in the now. I can think. I'm going to give you an example that some of you have probably saw me do this, actually, on one of the Friday luncheons. When I first heard, and I don't want to go into a big thing with this, but it's a good example. When I first heard that some church members were considering exploring selling this building, I immediately got very agitated. I mean, I was like, ugh. I started to lash out, asking all these questions to this small group of people who, they must have been like, what's going on with her? The rational part of my brain knew was not helpful, right? A button was pressed. I had to take those emotions to meditation, calmly and without judgment, letting them settle. I had to feel them, but letting them settle into coherence with the rest of me to understand where it was coming from. I was reacting to feelings of grief and powerlessness I felt when the Universalist Church of Salem, which is a congregation I served with great love for 7 years, fell apart 10 years after I left. So that was actually exactly 11 years ago. The congregation, the people merged with the UU Church in Beverly, but the building was converted to a secular nonprofit organization with great dreams that really have not come to fruition. As soon as I could spend time with my sadness over this loss, I could begin to listen to conversations about a different congregation at the present time, this congregation, at present time with my heart, mind, and soul together in the moment. Now, I know from my meditation class of 400 people from all over the world that I am not the only person processing past emotions. I grew up in a typical white New England Puritan family that people used to call the frozen chosen, taught not to feel through traumatic, culturally passed on child rearing practices that freeze feelings throughout the body, but remove them from consciousness. In other words, I was brought up by good parents doing exactly what they wanted to do, and it was traumatic. Now, research on PTSD, post-traumatic stress thank you, shows this cultural condition is coherent with the biological process, and it's a blessing. When human beings are threatened, their vagal nerves move through first. Okay, you cry, help, and then you fight, and then you run, and if the system is still overwhelmed and threatened, it freezes, and if it's still overwhelmed, it plays dead. And when it plays dead, you cannot remember what happened. I discovered as a pastor that I was not alone in having much of my childhood frozen, and some of it never making it into conscious memories at all. But the ability to freeze or play dead allowed us to survive. It was a good thing at the time. Now, there are many of us that when something happens that stirs that frozen feeling, me a lot, we react to that past suffering and cannot respond to the present till we gently lovingly pay attention to the feelings and let it melt into the soil of our soul. I once asked my PTSD therapist, why do I have to feel all this pain? Because it's all there. And I didn't feel it before because it's awful. I don't want to feel it. And she says, because then it will become just a bad memory, and it won't control how you act. Okay? Now, there's only one way to do that, as all the great mystics, like Joanna Macy said, you can't heal something you are afraid to go near. Once integrated, these memories of suffering can actually make us wiser and more compassionate as we respond to the ways people are co-creating hell on earth now. Meditating on my frozen soul is melting it, revealing the ancient broken garbage, giving me the courage to pay attention to it, teaching me how to better love the hell out of the world. And this is something no one does alone. This is not, this church has never been about hermits, and the way I'm learning to meditate is not about hermits, it's about the community. As Joanna Macy reminds us, compassion is what impels you to act for the sake of the larger whole, or more accurately, it is the whole acting through you. Those of us gathered now are also gathered with the energy in this room of centuries of universalists like George de Benneville practicing paying attention to hell on earth and cultivating together the ability to face the suffering of others at the same time they're turned in and feel their own suffering, cultivating our ability to love the hell out of the world. May we long continue to support one another in that quest. May it be so. And let's do a prayer that's in here by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's number 505. Okay. Please join me. The spirit of prayer. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become holy ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all and to all living things. Evoking the presence of the great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other, with humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us. Let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Amen. May it be so, and blessed be. Okay, we're going to sing 128 in your gray hymnal. Please rise in spirit or in body. Thank you. Okay. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts flight to all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us, now and always. And now we sing the song of parting, right? Okay, now we extinguish the chalice, and we say the extinguish the chalice reading. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.